What up, guys? Jason Guyman here with PressureWashHelp.com, King of Pressure Washing. And tonight I got Mr. Fred Zimmerman on. He started a pressure washing business, but he also started a Christmas light business many, many years ago. Some of you all might be just a little bit older than what he started his Christmas light business in here. And so we are going to talk a little bit about Christmas lights, a little bit about pressure washing. And the biggest thing I want to talk to tonight is about pricing and the importance of why we should price and all of that. But before we get there, let's find out who Fred Zimmerman is. So tell me a little bit about who you are, Fred, where you're from, and your family.
My family. Yeah, it's me. It's just me and my wife. I met her when I was in Bible college, and that's actually where it started my. Actually, I was already graduated, but she was still in Bible college. I was waiting for her to graduate, and so I actually started hanging lights with one of my friends that was a roofing buddy. I worked for a roofing company back when I was in Bible college out in Indiana, and we would knock doors for hail damage, and it got cold in the winter, and so me and this guy became pretty good friends. And then daylight saving times hits, and I was like, man, I'm like trying to knock on doors. He's like, I'll sit in the truck because I got paid $25 every time I got him on the roof. I was a poor college kid, so I made like $500 a week working 15 hours knocking doors, and then he would sign the contract, all this stuff. Well, anyways, daylight saving times hit, and I was like knocking on the door. And then it got dark. I was like, man, I need this money. He's like, I'll sit in the truck. I don't care. You want to knock doors when it's dark. So I was knocking on doors. Well, the cops were getting called to us. I was like, man, what in the world am I going to do? And he's like, here, I'll show you what roofers do in the winter to make a buck. And so I went to his house. I mean, long story short, there's a couple things between. But he ended up taking me to his house, and he printed up a flyer where he hangs Christmas lights for $1 a foot for one story and $1.50 a foot for two story. He had for like 10 years.
So let's go back a little bit. Let's go back a little bit too, because we're going to get back to the family, because you don't have no kids, but you have some other things that are probably just as valuable to you as your kid or a kid. What is that to tell us?
So we have some cats, and actually we brought them back from the Dominican. We went on a missions trip for 3 months last year, and the mother of the mother cat got run over by a car while we were there. And these cats were going to die, so my wife started feeding them, and if you feed a cat, you got a cat. That's kind of how that works.
So how was it bringing them back from Dominican?
We went through all the customs. We went through the vet. We got all the certificates, got all the vaccinations, and we got them right. They can't stand animals in Dominican. They hate them. And so we brought them through the airport, and they're like, you're not bringing that on the plane. And my wife said, we got all the paperwork, all the documentation. And I was like, sorry, nope. And my wife, she said, just go drop them off in the field. That's what the flight attendant said. And my wife's like, and my wife started crying. And so the flight attendant or the person at the counter, she was appalled. She could not believe that my wife was crying over these cats. So they called New York LaGuardia to find out customs if they would let the cat through. And LaGuardia said, that's fine. They got vaccines. We'll let them come. So my wife always says, JetBlue lady says no, but God says yes.
So when you was in college, you went for Bible college. Is that correct?
That's right.
And what was your plan? What was your plan to do with that?
We wanted to get into ministry, so Christmas lights was just a joke for me. I actually would just do it because it's the thing that made me the most money, but I was just doing it kind of as a phase to get me through a real job. And but I had a bunch of failed business ventures, so it's the one that's been my staple for about 11 years now.
So what do you think, let's go down that road a little bit. What do you think had made those failed business, the other ones?
I underbid jobs all the time. That's my fault. I want people to be my friend. I want them to like me, but yeah, it's not a good business model.
All right. So we got to talk about that tonight, right? We got to talk about that, because what is one thing that Jason always says? I am not my customer.
Yeah. But I wish I would have started listening to you a lot sooner than I did.
So once so that got you into Christmas lights, was doing that with your guy. So how long have you been doing it for?
I think this is my 11th season now.
So this is your 11th season.
Yeah.
So you've done it for quite a while. Then you've done, like I say, there's people in here that are 18, 19 years old. So you're almost as old as, you've been doing it as long as old as they are. So.
Yeah, but the thing, yeah, I actually compared notes with other people. I realized I was doing it wrong for a lot of years. I was just, I just did it. I was just making like, whatever. I was just making 15, $20 an hour. So for me, I thought I was making a good extra buck hanging lights. So I never thought of it really as a business.
So what is your goal? What is your end goal at the end of the day?
So when I first got into this, I did talk, compared notes with a couple guys that had been doing it for years, and they were saying that they do it for 4 months, 5 months out of the year, and they take the rest of the year off. And I always heard that. I was like, man, that would be a dream, because if I could work 4 or 5 months hard, like 80, 90 hours a week, and then take the rest of the year off, I'd be set. Like, I really would like to be in the missions. I can go on more missions trip. Where the thing is with Christmas lights, when it's done, it's done. Your customers, you don't have to talk to them, don't say a peep to them, and all of a sudden your phone starts ringing the next year. They all call you back and they bring their friends. It's just real. I've never seen anything like it.
And that is the beautiful thing about Christmas lights. So you want to go on the mission field. Is there any certain spot that you want to go to the mission, or you feel called, or any of that kind of stuff?
Spanish-speaking countries, but I think Dominican. I think that's where God's leading us. So.
Dominican. I was there last year, and it is really pretty there. I was there on 2 years ago. It wasn't on a mission trip. It was on a vacation, and that was a very pretty place there. I've been to Haiti and a couple other places myself, and Haiti on the other side of the island is completely different than the Dominican Republic is. So.
Yeah, I've heard multiple people say they actually sell real mud pies on the street that people eat. I think they might put a little sugar in them or something, but there's nutrients in them. It's just nuts. People are that poor in the world.
Yep, exactly. And it is something that if you've never been, if you think of what a third world country is, people think this is a third world country. They don't have a freaking clue until they go to Haiti. And so Haiti is one of those spots that, it'll be in your memory the rest of your life, no matter what you do. So back on track here on the business side of things. Let's talk a little bit about, so you have been doing it for 10 years, 10, 12 years, 10, 11 years. Obviously, in what area do you service?
Indianapolis is my main city. I live in Connecticut, so I moved there. I actually come back to Christmas lights every year. I have a couple jobs in Connecticut. I have a guy installing lights for me out there, but my main service area is Indianapolis.
Now, are you still coming back to Indianapolis, or are you staying up in Connecticut now?
Yeah, so last year I was actually in Dominican running my Christmas light business from Dominican remotely, and that's kind of interesting with no internet and random phone service, so that was very difficult. But we did do it, and this year I ran my Christmas light business from Connecticut until about 2-3 weeks ago we came out here and started hanging lights with the guys. It was getting a little bit over. We were burying our workers with a little bit. We had to come out and just help them.
So you're in Indianapolis now then?
Yeah, and with coronavirus, I planned on flying back and forth to hang lights out in Connecticut and out here, but with coronavirus, I have to quarantine if I go back. So I'm kind of out here till we get caught up, and I'm headed back to Connecticut.
Well, I'm going to be up by your buddy tomorrow. I'm going to do a ride along up at Jeremy's tomorrow. So
Jeremy
Cochran. Oh,
okay. Yeah. Oh, wow. He's like competitive, but I've chased him out of India, I think, with my. He's doing really well.
He is doing very well, and that's why I've talked to him, and he's done some fairly big jobs, and but that's what you can do. He's a pressure washer during the summertime. He does Christmas light. I think he's at 125 or 130 just in pressure washing, and I think he's close to being about 40 or 50 just in Christmas lights this year. So that's not too bad at the end of the day of $170,000 being it's him and his wife is pretty much all it is. So
yeah, not a lot of overhead.
No, not much overhead at all. So I met you. What did I meet you about 3 or 4 years ago?
Yeah, and actually, to be honest, I didn't really listen much to you because it's like you're trying to teach me how to hang lights, and I've been doing this for a long time. People are saying to watch your videos, and it's like I was like, okay, I've been hanging lights quite a while. There's nothing really too new here. But I should have. If I would have listened to you about 3 or 4 years ago, it'd have really helped. I mean, I started listening to you really about 2 years ago. I did encounter you, but I actually watched other guys. Donovan, he's the one that says you really need to just start listening to Jason. Your business will be doing a lot better. So I've been trying to. Even my wife, she keeps saying you need to listen to Jason. She kicks me and says you need to pay attention to what he says because it really does make our business a lot better. Because the point we were growing so fast, but we weren't really getting ahead. About 4 years ago, I did more houses than I ever did, and I made almost nothing that year. So
How
that's
many
when
houses did you do 4 years ago?
I think we did 260 or 270,
Okay.
but we didn't. We had hired almost. We did it all from Halloween till the first week of December, and it was just a blur. We had about 10 or 15 guys working for us, and at the end of it all, I made almost nothing. I was like, "What in the world?" I grew like 50% that year, and I thought that numerically, I didn't make nothing. It was like, what in the world? I went through more stress. So then I was like, I got to rethink this. So yeah, about 2 years ago, I really started changing my pricing. And then ever since then, it's been going a little better.
And that's the thing, I've talking about Donovan. I got a couple other guys on here of, it is really about, and it doesn't matter if we're talking about pressure washing or Christmas lights. We have to charge. And a lot of times we get into a mindset that we can't charge that much or it sounds really expensive. Well, Christmas lights, guess what? It is really expensive. It don't matter what you're dealing with. It don't matter who you're dealing with. Christmas lights is a luxury, I can't even say it, service. It isn't something that just everybody is going to do it. Pressure washing, on the other hand, everybody kind of needs it. It don't mean everybody's going to do it, but we're talking a $300 service versus a $1,000 service. So it's important for us to get our average ticket up. And when we get our average ticket up, that makes us money. And, a lot of times, Fred was talking about, doing stuff for cheap and old lady and feeling bad for people. And at the end of the day, it comes down to business practices. Good business practices go a long way. So there's two ways we can think of it. We can think of good business practices of doing stuff for the older and, and doing it cheap and all the other people, and we can do it for everybody. Or we can think about it that we do it for the higher end, we make higher ticket. Then that gives us money to give away. That gives us money to donate to different places. That gives us money to go on a mission trip for 6 months. So it's more important a lot of times of what do we need to do to get our higher ticket up. So I want to just talk a little bit because I got several of my guys in my training right now that's going to hit $250,000 this year. $250,000. So I want to talk a little bit about our average ticket and how we get it up and how we get it there. So if we can get Donovan, I know his average ticket is $1,800. It's probably going to go up even more than that because he's been raising his prices because he's so busy. So $1,800. We only need to do 139 jobs to get us to $250,000. Or if we only got an average ticket of $1,200, then we need to do 208 jobs. And here's the deal about that. We're going to do almost twice as many jobs, and we're going to use twice as much material because at the end of the day, we're going to use less materials on them 139 jobs than we are on the 208 jobs because we're getting more per foot, we're getting more per thing. And so that is the important part of raising our prices and getting it up. It doesn't matter if we're dealing with pressure washing or Christmas lights. Christmas lights obviously is lucrative, and there's a kitty back here. It is very lucrative, and it is something that will help us get our jobs up. And so, as a business owner, a lot of times, we come from a mindset. Obviously, you went to a pastor school, Bible college, and you're probably never taught that. I know people that went to a university and never taught that. A lot of times we get a mindset of, man, I can make $20, $50 an hour. I'm going to be rich. But at the end of the day, there's a lot of cost that go into building a business. And at the end of the day, we want to build a business. If we want to come back year after year, we have to build that business so that way we can grow and be successful and change your life and have financial freedom, have time freedom, and everything else along the road that goes along with that. And so that's why it's good to be able to grow our business and be successful. So with that said, Donovan, I've had a lot of conversations with Donovan, and most of the time is raise your prices. And I know it's easy a lot of times for me to say that, and I'm on the other side, But at the end of the day, that's what I had to do to get my business to $1 million. That's what I had to do to be successful and to making profit and all that at the end of the day. And so, Donovan, what have you done so far to help try to raise your prices and that kind of thing?
Well, so the thing is like Christmas lights is like nothing I've really ever seen where like you do a job and you can never catch up because then the neighbors come over and we're in $1 million home neighborhoods and the neighbors are driving over and say, hey, can you give me an estimate? And they want us to do it like while we're there. So I have a salesman. He actually gets a lot better numbers than I do. But yeah, I just don't have time. The thing, I can't manage people. Like I'm a small company. So I got about one crew, 1.5 crews. And so I can't service everyone. And I actually have found out that I actually tell people, look, I'm on most of the jobs. So, I mean, I'm sorry, I'm not the biggest company in the city, but you're going to get me on the job. So I have to charge more. Right? And people would rather pay me than some office staff that they're going to have to call and complain that they got stuff going on. So I can charge more because I'm on the job. So it's hard for me to think like that, but people would rather have the owner on the job doing it. And if they're going to want that, they have to pay for that. So my new customers, I'm not having a problem charging them more. My problem is all my old customers are calling me from years past at the prices they had before, and I don't know really what to do about that because it's hard to say I just can't service you anymore.
So there's a book called Pumpkin Plan, and in there it talks about growing big pumpkins, and we want to grow big pumpkins. We don't want the little pumpkins because if we got to pluck the little pumpkins off so that we can grow big pumpkins, and that's something that you're probably going to have to do over time. Of hey, we are having a price increase. Fuel's going up. I don't know. Well, it's just we're having a price increase because things are happening, and we're not the small business that we used to be of at that price range or something. You just got to say it nicely and make it sound good. Of hey, our prices are going up. And some of your prices probably got to go way up, and you're going to lose those customers. But if we fire. At the end of the day, even if you read the book, if we focus on the big pumpkins and we get rid of the suckers on the vine, the bigger pumpkin gets all the nutrients, and at that time, then we can focus as a business owner on the higher end customers. And when we focus on the higher end customers, obviously the pumpkin's going to get bigger. You're going to get more people because now they know you're going to be focused on it. And you're even, I agree to a point of the business owner on the job. At the end of the day, when I was the business owner, I wouldn't tell people I was business owner because if you got a problem, I don't want to hear about it right now. I'd rather hear about it on the telephone versus hearing it face to face. That's just me. And I can act like a dumb employee at that point, and they don't know no different. They don't, at the end of the day, most people don't care about that. What they want to know is, first off, is they want to know, is it going to get done? Are you going to come back and fix anything that's broke? And are you going to take them down and get rid of them? A lot of times, the cheap people are usually landscapers in the greater Cincinnati area. We're always landscapers, stuff like that. And you know how many phone calls we would get in January, or it was the handyman in January to come take their lights down because the person that installed them was like, he didn't make no money. And he's like, bye-bye, I don't want to be out of here. And so, obviously those are not our customers at the end of the day.
Yeah, I definitely still struggle with price. Right now it's easy because I'm getting about 30, 40 requests a day for estimates. Like I can't field them, so I just tell people we got a $750 minimum. If they want an estimate after that, then I'll give an estimate. But if they hang up, well, they're not my customers. So.
And that's what a lot of it is making sure that we're pre-qualifying them. Are you taking the phone calls, or is your wife doing it?
I got to figure out a better system for that. But yeah, by me just saying I got a $750 minimum, it's really limiting the phone calls. So I put it out in the conversation pretty quick. That's the only way I can manage it. So I do need an office staff. The thing is, the Christmas lights this year has really blown up. I think we've got probably 220 houses up at this point, so we'll probably beat anything we've ever done before. It's hard to raise the prices on your old customers. It really is. But I don't even want to service some of my old customers because the new customers I'm getting, they're paying so much more. It's just hard when you're doing one job for half the price that you go to the next house, you're doing it for twice as much. I even have customers completely complaining. It's like, I just referred my friend to you, and you charge them double. They have the same size house as us. It's like, well, I'm just busy. That's what we do now.
Yep.
Like you're a customer, you're still kind of locked in at that price. But I've already tried hiring a bunch of guys, and it turns into a nightmare because everyone's calling and complaining the job's not done right. So I have limited labor supply, and I am trying to hire more. But the answer is you just got to raise your rates and not do as many jobs because you can't maintain the customer service when you start to just hire anyone and everyone.
And employees are not an easy thing to deal with at the end of the day. You know, to deal with, you know, especially if you're paying, you know, workers' comp and all the crap that goes along with it, and insurance, and you know, and payroll tax, and you know, because at the end of the day, that's one thing makes you go to jail if you're not careful, is the old payroll tax, especially if you're trying to be a legit business at the end of the day. And so that is definitely something that you have to look at. And somebody put on here, wife sells it better than hire. And that is true, because a lot of times we think we got to tell them all the intricates of it, and the female will just tell them, you know, become friends, da 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 da. And a female can usually sell even Christmas lights. I know they can sell a lot more on pressure washing, but even Christmas lights, they can sell more at the end of the day. So.
Yeah, my wife gets a lot better numbers than me when she bids them.
Do what now?
My wife definitely gets better numbers when she bids them, but that's not really. She doesn't want to talk to people on the phone, so she just puts the estimate out in the email, and then we get it sometimes.
Gotcha. So, my wife, Christina, the closer, I cannot get the prices she does, but that's okay. But again, so when you are doing Christmas lights and you've been doing it this long, is there any new techniques out there, or is it pretty much the same thing for over, other than the days of incandescent versus LEDs?
Well, yeah, so I was a cheap guy, and so I was doing incandescent for years, and I really just started to make the changeover about 3 years ago to fully go on LED, which it really, I don't have to explain to everyone how to do the job and amp loads and breaker loads. So it made it so I can just send people to install a job and get a lot less callbacks. Then the clips, those tough clips and the flex clips and the best clips, all that stuff, they came out and they speed up my install times. We went from doing 3 or 4 jobs a day to now my crew, they can do about 5 to 6 a day just because of clips. Because they take about 30 minutes to install on a job, but once they're on for the life of the bulb. So they're on for 4 or 5 years. You never have to reclip them again. So that really, I mean, when you only have limited labor, when you have all of a sudden your guys can do an extra house a day because of a clip, then it's like a no-brainer. And last year we switched. I originally bought them because the takedown times were supposed to go up. We were supposed to speed up. So I fully had switched to tough clip last year, and the year before it took me 5 weeks to do takedowns. And so my guys were counting on hours to do takedowns for those 5 weeks and stuff, because we pay them pretty good while we're installing. So they want to save the rest of their money until the spring when they get back to work. And so they were counting on those 5 weeks. Well, we were managing from Dominican, so our labor costs were much higher last year. Well, when we did takedown last year, being fully converted to tough clip, we ended up only taking 2 weeks to do 260 houses we did last year, I think, or something about that. It took us 2 weeks to do takedown because the tough clip speeds up takedown so much. So we saved $10,000 in labor just by buying a clip.
Now, are you putting them in garbage cans, or how are you saving those?
Yeah, you don't want to. I have a different than industry standard, but for speed, we put all white lights together. We don't put them with the house. Any colored one, any specific one to a house, we put in a box with their name on it. But white, we just put them all together because it's too hard to sort through all their stuff all the time. They're all the same anyway, so we throw them out at certain years. But other than that, we put them all together.
I got
So
you.
you put a male-female plug and just redo it to another house.
So you're just putting them all in one go, in one get-go.
Yeah, and this year we're going around to trailers, which is really speeding up production time because we lose an hour and a half going to storage trying to get all these lights on a truck. So when you have a trailer, you only have to go to storage twice a week now. The truck's fully loaded for twice a week, which you get a couple extra installs done a week by not having to go to storage unit anymore.
I got you. And so are you riding the truck now too?
Yeah. The thing is, I would like to install, but I'm too busy putting out fires. And I mean, everyone mocks me when I'm out there trying to install because it'll take me all day because I get carried away on a phone call with someone or this. I mean, I'm a talker. My wife always says I got the gift of gab, and she's making fun. She's like, come on, let's go. Because I always got a million things to do at this point of the year. But the thing is, Christmas lights in 3 weeks is all done. I mean, my phone will ring and I'll get a few jobs, but it's absolute craziness to just like someone flips a switch and it's done in 3 weeks. So I know that it comes to an end. So I can just got to make it another 3 weeks.
About December 10th, isn't it?
Yeah, about December 10th, it really falls off. But your best paying customers are the next 2 to 3 weeks.
Yep.
December 10th, most people are like, well, just wait till next year.
Yep. This year, who knows what this year with COVID and everything. So.
No, so every year I usually try to be caught up by right now, but this year I'm not. Because your best paying customers come now, and all the other companies are swamped. They can't take on new customers, so you can scoop up all your best paying customers right now. But this year I'm going to have to probably let some of those go because I just can't get caught up.
Either that or you start making it higher end payment, or start raising them prices of what's going up. So
maybe you got a solution for who can answer my phone calls. I did a call answering service, and it cost me like $1,000 a week because I'll probably get 100 calls tomorrow. On Monday's my worst day, but they charge me $2 a minute to field my calls, and they do a good job. But when I'm paying $2 a minute, and by the time they ask me all the questions, about $1,000 a week I'm paying.
Are you really? Well, you could pay somebody at that point. Find somebody that's looking for a part-time job, and they could be anywhere at that point.
Yeah. Maybe actually I should call my friend. He did it for me. Anyways, it's another thing. But yeah, that would probably help me this week if I could just stay off the phone. And the thing is, this week I just quit answering my phone, which I know you were going to be like, that's dumb. And then I come and check my voicemail at night. But the thing is, our production, we had a record week last week. I mean, like every day we were doing very well. And just because I just quit worrying about getting new customers, just putting what's on the board up. And yeah, we had amazing days.
But that's where you need to start working on answering that phone and starting for $8-10 a foot of bidding it. And that way, when you're getting these new customers next year, you're going to make even more money. And not answering the phone is not a good thing, because here's the thing: even if your close rate's only 10%, who cares? You're so booked up, and you're getting $8-10 a foot. That's when your money is kind of making money for you.
Yeah, that's what Donovan's. He's got a better system. I'm thinking about next year paying him to have another person answer my phones for me, because they're put up amazing estimates, and every single phone call they get gets a good estimate. So, and he said he's raised his rates up to $10 a foot, and he's not even putting out yard signs this year. I'm not even putting out yard signs because I got too much. This is the first year I'm not paying for advertisement because I'm getting more leads than I've ever got before. There's demand for Christmas lights. Like nationwide suppliers are out already. Right. I've never encountered anything like this.
I know it. I don't know what the deal is. Well, I think I know what it is, but it's called COVID.
If I would just answer the phone and sell jobs, we could get more, but I don't have the crews to install them. So,
well, and that goes, like I say, that's where, focus on, I wouldn't focus on minis. I wouldn't focus on doing around windows. I would focus on the C9s and a reef and be done with it. Or even just the C9s, gutter lines, and that's what I'd focus on.
Okay. Yeah, my guys, they hate all the other stuff that I sell with it. I was thinking to get the ticket item up, you got to bid every single option on there.
No, to get the ticket item up, it's called raise that price of $8, $10 a foot.
Yeah, I think I'm going to listen to you because right now, what do I got to lose?
You know what? If I did another Christmas light business, this is all I would do. C9s and a reef all day long, and I'd be done. C9s, a gutter line, and a reef, and done. I don't like minis, and how I get away from not doing minis is I'm $40 a strand.
Well, so my guys, they hate reefs, but the roofs we can do a 4,500 square foot house, like a 200 feet of lights in 40 minutes. We're in and out, ready to go to the next one. It takes longer.
If you did 200 feet of lights at $8 a foot, that's $1,600.
Yeah. I don't have much to lose. I guess I'm going to listen to you. Everyone else that's listened to you is doing good. Donovan says Donovan said he listened to me the first year, and he's thankful for meeting me and me pulling him out of the gutter cleaning and putting him in my group. But he said after he realized what was going on, he said he dumped everything that I taught him, and he just started listening to you because he said he realized you knew what you were talking about a lot more. You knew more about business than just installing lights, and I guess I didn't understand.
I never did lights around windows, none of that stuff, because it's too much work. If I got to sit there and hot glue stuff or do that kind of stuff, I'm losing money at that point. I would rather do 5, 6 jobs of those 200 feet and make a lot of money at that point versus taking all that extra time just to get extra lights around the house. Because at the end of the day, I'm not making no money on it at that point. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, we just did it's like an $8,000 job, but we were there 2.5 days. And it's like, I don't know. When you're bidding them at $4 a foot, they just become a lot longer job.
And at that point, you should be doing $8,000-9,000 a day, not in 2 days.
Right. Yeah. Anyways, I mean, you learn. I'm still,
because you just said you can do 4 or 5 jobs a day. If you do 200 feet on that house, and that's $1,600, and we can do 4 or 5 of those a day. That's our $8,000 a day coming into us.
Yeah. I just felt like if you're charging that much, you got to be throwing in all of the bells and whistles. But yeah, I guess you just raise your.
And then if you want all the bells and you do throw all the bells and whistles in too, but you charge $40 a strand for bushes and $40 a foot per tree.
Well, and the thing is, I mean, we've done Hallmark movies, we've done all kinds of stuff, and I just don't charge. I guess there's new guys charging way more than me in our city.
And that's the thing, and that's why I want to hit that on. I want to hit on that because there's the $99 guy. Whether we're talking about pressure washing, whether we're talking about pressure washing, Christmas lights, there's always the $99 guy, the cheap guy. And at the end of the day, it makes it hard to have a successful business to be the cheap guy. Now, I get it. There's guys out there that do thousands of installs and they have all these guys and they make profit at the end of the day. I understand that and I know that. But when you're a single guy and not having a lot of men with you, I would much rather be the premium guy and have premium service because here's at the end of the day. Are you going to do, okay, so you're going to do, you said did how many jobs? 200 and some?
Probably around 220. I don't know. I'm guessing 220 so far. We haven't done
so 220, and what's your average ticket right now?
I mean, last year I think our average ticket was somewhere right around $1,100.
So you're just barely at $250,000 with a lot of material and with a lot of men and that kind of stuff. I only needed to do 139 jobs and I can get to that same amount of money. If I did 250 jobs, 260 jobs, I'm at $500,000 worth of lights put in at that point. At the same amount of jobs you're doing, and I did $500,000. And I know that's true because last year at Cincinnati did $500,000, and I think they were right around 279, 300 jobs at the end of the day.
Yeah. Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, Fred. I love you to death. I really do because I like aggravating you more than anything because you like aggravating me back. So.
This one lady just called me again today. I mean, this job we did, and I like the lady, but she said we got a bulb out. So it's a $600 customer or $590, and it's a pretty easy job. Took like an hour to do, maybe an hour and a half because we had a bulb up. But now I'm going to go back, and I know she's picky. She's going to be picking a bulb. And the more customers you have, the more you're going to run into people like that. So I put a note in the file that next year we're probably not going to service her. But, I mean, I got so many of these customers that are $400 and $500 customers where I'm going to have a bulb out. It just happens.
And that's where, honestly, where you are, that's probably what I would do to get rid of a lot of the customers next year is say, this is how I would handle that. I would drop everybody that is – our minimum is going up to $750, $800. And that way, all those customers, your lights are still going to be the same, but it's going to be at least $800. Does that make sense?
So you mean move up my per foot price on all those people?
I would, yes, I would make, and be the minimum, our minimum is $750, $800. That way you get rid of all the $400, $500, $600 jobs right out of the get-go.
Well, so I've done that before, and then they asked, well, what more work do we get done? Because I raised our minimum a few years ago, and everyone's like, but so you're charging more, so what more work do we get done? And
You
it's
don't
just,
get no. This is what your price is. What this is right here. We can, if you want to bid extra, we'll bid extra at that point. Because I guarantee you, if you go to $7-8 a foot, that's still going to be cheaper than what they're getting at that deal of $800.
okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's kind of late to be.
Yeah,
Changed.
you're done late in the game right now. Yeah, it's going to be hard to do it now. But moving forward from day to day now, I wouldn't bid nothing under $8 a foot. You're already this busy, and what you'll find out is you will start closing these jobs at the $8-9 a foot. Because what happens is when we start doing low jobs, when we start bidding lower jobs, we get their friends. We don't want their friends. When we start bidding high jobs, we start getting those friends, and those are the friends we want because those friends have lots of money, and that is why. And this doesn't matter if it is pressure washing, Christmas lights. I want the high end friends because the high end friends are the ones that are going to help us grow our business and be successful at the end of the day. Make sense?
Yeah, yeah.
And it kind of goes back to you. We want to grow. We don't just want to grow our business at the end of the day. We want to grow ourselves as a person, as a business person, and all that kind of thing. And it goes back to you're like the 5 people you're around. And like I always say, we don't want to be the smartest person in that group of 5 because at that point we can't go nowhere. We want to be the dumbest person of the 5, and then we only got one way to go, and that is up. And that is building, whether that's building education, that's building all of the different things. And just like this one here said, it's like the law of attraction. Whether it's our customers or ourselves, if we're around like-minded people, then we can grow and be successful at the end of the day. And so that is why I love doing Christmas lights. I would have never thought that I would be having I know Donovan, this is his 3rd year. He's going to hit 250, maybe more. Jason Murphy out of Louisville, he's going to do 250, 300,000 this year. It's his 3rd year. And so, and most of this is a lot of profit at the end of the day because they're not doing a lot of jobs. Jason Murphy, they have 1 crew, and I think it's 2 guys. Jason answers the phone. He's not even on that crew. Donovan has 3 guys, right? Plus he's got 2 answering the phone. So, there's a lot of profit to be made at this point. There's a lot of profit in it because at the end of the day, if we're at $8 a foot, we're looking at $2 in cost for the bulb, and we're looking about probably a third of that could be labor, and then the other third is profit on the end of the day, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I've been listening because Donovan's starting from scratch, so all his customers are high paying. I mean, I was started at $2 a foot, so I mean, yeah, I've moved up a lot, but it's still, I guess, logistically, I just can't install. The thing, there's other guys I've talked to. I compare notes with guys that do thousands of houses a year, and they have monopolies in their city. I remember I talked to one guy, and he was saying the way I keep raising my rates. It opens the door for competition, which in their city they dominate, and there is no competition because they said they charge $350 a foot. They said by the time a new guy buys lights for $2 a foot and pays labor, they're going to lose money the first year. Most new guys are not going to be able to do that.
But I don't agree with that either because here's what's going to happen. There's people that will pay the cheap price. That's right. There's also people that will not pay the cheap price. And we don't want that customer. There's a Walmart right next to something that's really high dollar end, right? Because you have the Walmart customer and then you have the Macy's customer. Macy's is less than a mile away from the Walmart. The people that go into Walmart aren't going to Macy's, and the people that are going to Macy's aren't going to Walmart. And it's the same way with the whole ordeal, because here's the thing. They have thousands of customers, you're right. But what does that mean? They have thousands of problems because they're not getting to those people right away. Because I know how that works. We got thousands of jobs we got to put up. We can't get in there. And so when I hear, oh, you can't start a business, I'm going to call BS on that, because this is what I've learned in the pressure washing world. There's the $99 guy and there's the $1,000 guy. You know, the $99 guy, he goes out of business a lot of times. Now, the ones that got thousands, they probably don't, they're not going to go out of business, right? You know, they're going to keep it going. But at the end of the day, I could come in there, and if I do, because here's the other problem about the $3 a foot guy. He's not paying no money in marketing because he can't, there's not no profit margin in there to be spending in marketing. You know, that's the thing. If I do anything and I get, I do $8 a foot, I can spend $2 a foot to try to get more of those customers. And when I do that, then all it does is just keep rolling it in at that point. Because the lifetime value of a Christmas light customer is, I wouldn't even want to guess what it is, as long as you're charging a lot, you know, as long as you're charging, our average ticket is $1,800. So, you know, an average customer, I mean, we were in business for 5 years, and most of them stayed all 5 years. Once you get them coming in, they usually stick around. 80% will stay, 20% will leave. And so the average customer of a Christmas light customer is going to be anywhere from about $5,000 to $10,000 for the lifetime value of that customer. And so that is the importance of, maybe I do spend some money in marketing. Maybe I spend more money in AdWords or put out signs. So that way I can get to that $8, $10 range, and then I can keep growing it. Then you can go on a mission trip for 6 months out of the year because you got money in the bank, and it's nothing all go out because we didn't make no money. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah.
And that's why I love Fred, because Fred says he understands and gives me that smile every time. And his wife's always poking at him every time I'm talking to him. And so that is the beautiful thing about a husband and wife business. And a lot of people, you know, can grow a business and that kind of thing at the end of the day. And so I am truly here to try to help people grow their business and be successful. I don't want to, you know, I understand that some people, it is hard work. It isn't something that's just going to poof and it's going to happen. It is hard work, and you've been in it for 10 years and you know the hard work. Now it's time to be successful and to be profitable so that you can go do what you love. You don't like pressure washing in the summertime. You want to go do missions in the summertime. And the way you do that is you being successful in Christmas lights, you're raising your prices, you're getting them up to the next level. And if you don't do Christmas lights, you're doing it in pressure washing, you're raising them prices and getting it to the next level, so that way you can go do what you want. You can take days off. You can do things of being successful. But if we have, and a lot of this comes down to one thing, it comes down to a poor mindset. If we have a poor mindset, I've had the poor mindset for years, and I still have it sometimes. And it's not an easy thing. I didn't grow up in a successful family. My parents was poor. We ate the cheese line when it used to be the cheese line way back when. And so, you know, we wasn't the rich family at all. We were we might have been the top of the poor class and the bottom of the middle class. And so, you know, having that poor mentality and thinking can really damage us at the end of the day. You know, when you're told, you know, different things of being poor, you can't afford that. You're not smart enough. Fred Zimmerman is smart enough to run a good, successful business. God's given you a gift to do it, and he can make it happen. And so that is something that you have to tell yourself. I used to always tell myself I wasn't smart because I had people around me tell me I wasn't smart. I'm smart. Am I book smart of the book? No, I could care less about books. Do I know how to do pressure washing and Christmas lights? Heck yeah. Do I love to learn about marketing? Yes, I do. Do I love about YouTube? Yes, that's why I do what I do. And at the end of the day, my calling is so that you guys can be successful. Go out there and be successful and use my God given talents so that you all can keep off of the, so you don't hit your bumps in the road. I've hit all the bumps in the road. I know the bumps in the road. I know what I've done stupid of saying, well, that was stupid, especially in the pressure washing side. And in the Christmas light side, it's the same. I understand of don't do windows. Why am I wanting to do windows for? Those are the stupidest things you can do. It's time consuming. It's a time suck. And at the end of the day, yes, it might make it look good. But at the end of the day, most people don't want that. They want the classy look. All they want is a warm white and a wreath and be done because they want the classy look. They don't care about all the other stuff. They don't want the Griswold look, and guess what? We can charge just the same amount. I got one of the things that I kind of got on Donovan about of the trees well, if we do the C9s, we can do it cheaper. Why do I want to do it cheaper? If they want it to look like this for the C9s, I'm going to do it for the same price. If they don't want it done, I'm not going to do it at that point because, well, I can do it cheaper. I can do it for a third of the cost. Why did all that did was just cheapen my service at the end of the day. And so that is why we got to go out there and make it happen so that we can be successful and to grow our business. Because like I say, at the end of the day, what makes me excited is to hear people that are going to do 250 in 3 years at 250 and they are going to kill it. That's what makes me excited. That's what makes me get ready to go. People in my pressure washing doing 10 grand a month, 15 grand a month, $20,000 a month. I'm going to have a guy coming on here in the next week or two that did $1 million and he's 25 years old, pressure washing alone, and how do you do it? By listening to old Jason, and that is what I want to be able to, so that people can be successful at the end of the day. Sorry, I got on a rant. Somebody said preaching. I was preaching, so.
The next 3 weeks is like the absolute craziness, and so it's already been a crazy year. So yeah, I need to slow it down. So I just need to raise my rates.
And when you raise your rates, the beautiful thing about it is
you do the same amount of work and you make more money.
And next year you make even more money. And it's not about, and I understand, and that goes back to that poor mentality. Well, I don't, that sounds awful. I can't make that kind of money. Why not? What sound? It goes back to a brick. A brick can be good. Oh, and that's before I get to there. A lot of times, and especially from where I know you're from the church, and that of people will always say, this is the poor mentality of money is the root of all evil, and that is not the case. It's the love of money is the root of all evil. And that is the problem. So a brick, this wall back here, that's really not a brick wall, that looks like a brick wall. I can take a brick and I can build this wall up, or I can take that brick and throw it through a window. And so money can do the same thing. With money, we can go give money to the things that we can help grow other people and go to the mission field and all that kind of stuff. Because at the end of the day, poor people don't give to be able to help grow things at the end of the day because they're poor and they don't know how to. But God has given you a gift to be able to grow money, to be able to make money so that you can go and help and support other people and give like nobody has ever given. The whole Dave Ramsey thing is, for financial freedom is so that, you live like no one today so that you can live like no one to next year, when you get everything paid off. And that is so true, because when you have figured out that will allow that to go out there and make you successful.
So we have guys, part of the reason we're getting so many calls too is we've done some amazing installs this year, some of the best that I've ever done. They're by far the best we've ever done. And we're putting yard signs out, and the homeowners are saying people are stopping by, taking pictures of the yard sign, taking pictures of the houses. So I know we have the quality of work. It's just I need to charge for it.
Get it up there. Are you at $8 a foot yet?
No, no. My salesman sells them at that, but the ones I land are probably $5 or $6 a foot.
Well, don't even bid it at $6 a foot. You need to be charging at $8 a foot everything.
Yeah,
That's gonna what you got to do there is you got to start taking it at $8 a foot. And I know your close rate, which obviously your close rate's not going to be as good, but you're busy as all your get outs right now. And the beautiful thing of it next year is even if you give them this is what I always did. I did and this is a beautiful thing at the end of the day too, is do a $8 a foot. If you do a 3-year discount, knock it off 15%. That way, for the next 3 years, you know that you're getting them for the next 3 years. And yes, you're going to knock off 15%, but guess what? You're still at, $7.60?
Okay, well that's good because the thing is sometimes people want a deal, so that's the deal. They get 15% off that you're locking in for 3 years.
3 years, they get 15% off all 3 years.
Okay, because you have those people that they want a deal. So I kind of keep going down. My wife she elbows me and she's really mad. She doesn't want to do the work anymore. Well, I happen to throw in trees. She's in charge of the groundwork. I'm in charge of the roofs. So yeah, whenever I throw in a tree, she's like, "How would you like if I threw a roof in for free?" It's like, "Oh yeah, just throw that in."
And don't ever throw anything in for free. Get free out of your head. Now, I'm not saying don't do stuff for free because I agree with you 100% on doing the kid things and the family things when people are struggling. I'm with you 100% on that. I've done it many times. I've done funerals for kids. I've done the dad died. I get that. I did a kid that was sick and that kind of thing. I get that. I get the free. That kind of free, that's okay. Any other free, don't throw nothing in for free because trees, you throw in a 30-foot, you throw in a 10-foot tree, that's $300 you just gave away for nothing.
My wife, we were this old lady. She had just retired, so her kids would always put up her lights, and so she was giving us a sob story. So we put up her lights, and it's like that one tree. She cut it off because we were charging her $100 for this tree. It was only like 3 strands of lights or something. So then I told my wife, well, we're just going to do it for free. My wife pulled me the car, and we have House Call Pro. So she's like, look at this house. It's worth $1 million. And she's giving us a sob story that she can't afford servers because her kids can't put her lights up this year. So we're not throwing the lady's tree for free. She lives in $1 million house. So then I was like, yeah, I guess these people, they make way more money than me. I don't know what they do that we work for, but yeah, they must put up a lot of Christmas lights to live in $1 million house.
I like what S3 said. Fred, all new customers that call tomorrow, Monday, will be $10 a foot. 15% off 3 years equals $850.
Who just said that?
S3 Pro. I don't know I know he's from Tennessee, I believe.
I got nothing. We can't even handle the customers we have, so I have no problem trying to. If I get a few more customers at $10 a foot, I'd be very happy.
And that's the thing. I think the biggest thing that you lack, Fred, and I don't mean to be mean or that, I think you lack confidence and believing in yourself.
But he only works part-time, and he gets $10 a foot, and every time he does, I'm pretty happy. But maybe it's not. Maybe it's because he asked it.
Hey, ask. You have. What does the Bible say about that? You have not because you've asked not.
Yeah, I'm not my customer. I mean, I wouldn't hire me. I tell it to my customers. But
as Jason said, what do you have to lose?
Yeah. Well, I'll let you know how it goes here in about 2 or 3 weeks. I'm building them all at $10 a foot, and we'll let you know.
Here's the thing: if you do them at $10 a foot and you got a close rate of 10%, you will kill. I mean, you're going to make more money than you ever made before.
I'm sure we get the lead flow of most any company. I mean, we get a lot. I mean, I'm not even paying. This is the first year I'm not paying for advertising at all.
Let's talk about that a little bit because I know kind of how you do it, but what do you have for lead flow?
I mean, I'm getting right now, currently, tomorrow, I wouldn't be surprised if we get about 100 leads. But most of them come from referrals. And the best, I ask people when they call, well, how'd you hear about the yard sign, or the magnets on our truck or bucket truck? I see these random yard signs all over town, and nothing beats a yard sign and a quality install if you put it in their yard, because you get a lot of attention. But yeah, I have a website. We definitely have a lot of reviews on our one website, and then I mean yard signs. They're by far the best advertising. We put magnets on the mailboxes beside. But this year I'm not even doing that. I just can't even handle the volume.
So you've mostly done yard signs to grow it. As many customers have you had? Did you
Well,
ever pay any money in AdWords or anything?
to pay about 5 to 10 grand a year. But this year is the first. Even last year I did it again, but this year I haven't paid anything in AdWords. Now in Connecticut, I'm paying a lot of money there, and I'm getting barely any jobs. A person that comes on Google and finds you, they're not as likely to pay. They're going to be. A referral is much better, slam dunk, like you're going to get the job versus someone that comes from online. That's what I found. So right now I'm paying a lot of money right now in Connecticut because I'm trying to expand there. And we're not getting a lot of bites. Like, a lot of estimates being put out, but no one's really going for it. I'm still bidding it pretty cheap there, $5-6 a foot. But out here in Indiana, I'm not paying for any ads, and we're getting like tons of leads. And a lot of them, they just want to hire us because we've already done their friends.
Gotcha. And
Now, I work if I didn't spend all that money getting all these customers to begin with. But once your business gets going, you're not trying to find work anymore. You're trying to find laborers to help do it.
so let's talk a little bit about something that you've done, something that a lot of people have never done, and that's the houses on the movie. How did you get into that?
They just called me. It's been 3 Hallmark productions that we've been a part of, and they go online just looking, just like anyone else. And they find me. I'm a local installer, and it just happens to be that I was in the air. We were actually watching a Hallmark movie. It was like 3 years ago. So my mom, we go for Christmas there, and we're stuck. She puts on the Hallmark Channel, so we were watching, and we're like, man, imagine if we ever, because the lights really aren't that good in a lot of their movies, and so we were, me and my wife, like, how cool would it be if we could decorate one of those? Well, like 2 weeks later, 3 weeks, I guess we were done doing takedowns, or about done, and I got a phone call from someone that claimed to be a Hallmark producer, and then and they said they wanted to meet me for an estimate. And then in about 30 minutes, I got 2 more people that claimed to be producers. And so we went through, did an estimate, and they said, so when, we gave them an estimate, and they said, so when, I was like, when does this need to be done? They're like, we need this done within like the next 5 hours. Like, are you serious? I was like, you didn't give me any planning or nothing. Like, all my lights are in Indiana, and this is out in Connecticut. And I was like, I mean, I got all my lights are in Connecticut. I got some out in Indiana. I mean, I got some lights here, but nothing like what you guys need. And they're like, welcome to Hollywood. But that's everything they do is all last minute. They're not very well. Whenever you'd work for like a Hallmark production, or at least that's the only ones I've worked for, they're very spur of the moment. Like they don't even tell you nothing. They just have you show up and tell you what they want done. You give them a price. They're like, okay, let's do it. And so I mean that's.
So what did you have to end up doing to get those lights when you were in Connecticut?
We had to drive around to every store trying to buy them, and it was actually, I think, in February when we had done it. So everything was taken off the shelves. It was in mid-January or late January. Everyone had taken them all off the shelf, so you couldn't find them anywhere. A few weeks earlier, you could buy them for like 90% off. But
right.
My wife scored. She went to what do you call it, Army surplus store, and they had a bunch of them, tons and tons of them. So we ended up getting them there. But it's been 2 days trying to find. We were having my guys going to bust them out in a van, just load up tons of my lights in Indiana and bring them out to us in Connecticut. But they don't use for movies. They want all incandescent.
They want incandescent?
Yeah, in movies, which is kind of an electrical nightmare. But yeah, as long as that's what they want for it. Films way better because even Midlands we've seen, they still kind of, but they flash on a movie.
That makes sense because of because we're the LED versus the incandescent.
Yeah.
I didn't know. So do you keep incandescents now for that, or?
Yeah, we do. I mean, I have tons of incandescent because that's what I used to install. We still have a ton of them. I don't know what to do. I hate throwing stuff away because it's worth money, right? But I guess I'm just paying to store it.
Not them stupid incandescents. God, them are a pain in the neck. How did you keep from breaking them?
I mean, that's just like we did for years and years. You just got to be careful. Like, when you take down, I used to charge people 25 cents a bulb when they're doing takedowns and it pops. They're like, okay, that's 25 cents.
Well, that was half your labor costs.
Most guys are getting in the lights now. They know nothing about incandescence. Was the only thing, because LEDs used to be horrible. They'd flash. It didn't look right. And so it was an easy slam dunk sell if you just do LED next to incandescent. But nowadays they got LEDs that are better than incandescent.
So what's the most power that you've ran from incandescent?
Oh, well, the thing is, back in some of my incandescent days, you had to know power, and I'd be trying to explain to my guys, and you'd think they got it, and then they're like, "What in the world did you do?" We had one, so I would load up a house, and I would put it to 80% of the load on the outlets. We'd figure, so if it was a 20 amp breaker to 15, you have to flip the breakers all the time, have guys on the phone like, oh, okay, what's turned on, what's turned off to find out, and make sure you're on separate circuits, and so you'd figure that all out. And then you'd come back, and the homeowner would have plugged in a bunch of stuff on top of it. So all the cords would be melted and stuff. You're like, what in the world? Like, we barely had this running, and you put more stuff on top. We had one guy. We had one guy that he threw tons of stuff on top of it. So he paid an electrician because it kept flipping his breaker to change it from a 20 amp to a 30 amp. So then he actually duct taped it shut so it couldn't flip anymore. Now shot through the sheetrock. And I was like, you know what? If his house would have burned down, I'm sure he would have told none of his insurance that. It would have been my fault. I would have had to pay for it, I'm sure.
So what's the most outlets have you used on a house for doing a house?
Oh, probably. We had this guy that had a helicopter pad. That's the only way to his house. He had a helicopter, the Enslow Mansion in Indiana. And back when he built it, you had to have a helicopter fly back and forth. He was the richest guy in Indiana when he built it. And so, yeah, we had outlets everywhere. I was there for hours and hours trying to find a trip GFI. I could not find it. And so finally, he had this big New Year's Eve party. So he ended up calling an electrician. They came out, and there's one GFI in the garage behind some count. I mean, the garage is like 10 garage doors. It was massive. But anyways, they found it. But yeah, that I can't even yeah, I'm glad. That was back in my incandescent days. The guy that built that mansion ended up dying from his helicopter. It ended up, the wind shifted directions, and it chopped his head off when he got out of it one day.
Whoopsie doodle.
Kind of a sad story.
Huh. So, yeah, incandescent days, people don't understand how easy LEDs are now versus incandescent. I was only on the incandescent of the minis, and that was a nightmare.
Yeah, and they go out in the rain and all that stuff. Yeah, if your minis go out in the rain, it's probably because you don't have good quality minis. So even LEDs, sometimes they're junk.
All right. So tell me, I know I'm running a little late here because I got on. Tell me one thing you failed in business and the 3 things that you learned from it.
Oh man, what I failed in business? I've had quite a few. Actually, so I had a roofing company. No, and roofing wasn't doing that well, so I went to fencing, and I did like about $500,000. And I mean, I'm a small company, so I had one crew, and I did $500,000, and I ended up losing almost 40 grand that year. And so I was making fun of one of my friends that I was teaching how to do Christmas lights. That was a power washer. I was like, now you got to go back to power washing. Too bad you can't, make no Christmas light money again. He's like, what's that supposed to mean? I was like, there ain't no money in power washing, because I did it as a handyman. And he tagged a bunch of his friends, and they were like, I make $1 million a year doing it. I was like, $1 million? And that's what introduced me to power washing. So then I was in your brother's group, the Pressure Washing Mafia, yeah. And he started telling me I'm not running a business, I'm running a hobby, it sounds like. But then he actually started drilling me on numbers and stuff. He's like, you overhead. You don't even know what you're. But that's what I was like, wow, power washing, there's no overhead. So I got rid of my whole business, and now I do power washing. So I'm still not like you guys. I'm not like most of the guys that I'm still behind the curve on power washing. But I mean, overhead, you just got to know your overhead, and there's no overhead in power washing, very little. So what you make on the job is what you keep. So when I was doing construction and I was doing, I tried for years to make it work, and you do $500,000 a year, and at the end of the year, you're making $30,000-$40,000 after you pay all your expenses stuff. It's not worth it.
Awesome.
So, I mean, that was my favorite. I tried years to do handyman stuff, different kinds of construction, but like the pumpkin model, I did listen to I listened about half of it so far, the book, yep. But that's what my point out, that in order to have a pumpkin business, you have to have a pumpkin seed. So I was starting with construction is very difficult to make a good living in construction. You can, but it's much more difficult, much more moving parts. But you got to find a business model that there's enough profit margin in it. It's got like the pumpkins. In order to have a giant pumpkin, you got to have the right seed to start with. You can't have some rinky-dink pumpkin and take a seed from and expect it to be a giant pumpkin. So you got to have a good business business model to get into before you start expecting it to grow. So anyways, I looked at power washing. It's in Christmas lights, just happens to be a lot higher profit margins. So it's much easier to make it. I guess that's my. I don't know if that's 3, but that's my big takeaways. You gotta start with the right business that has an opportunity for upward potential.
Awesome. Awesome. Hang on, I'm going to jump. We'll get off here and close this out here. Again, if you all want to, go to pressurewashhelp.com/free. You can get a 30-day free, learn about Christmas lights, pressure washing. Also, in the link down below here, Fred he's put out a lot of videos out. Go check out his YouTube channel. And that way subscribe to it. He's only at 333 people, so let's get him to about 500 people. So go subscribe to that channel.
Yeah, Christmas Light Contractors is me and Donovan's channel. We're just doing tips on install lights like a pro. And actually, a lot of them are just 2 or 3 minutes. I know Guyman's got more longer ones that actually are from start to finish. Ours are just real quick tips, what to do like in jam situations. So, anyways,
and some of it is stuff that you don't want to do, like glue stuff on brick. But
it makes the jobs. It makes good pictures, but you don't want to actually do it for a living.
And so, but definitely go check out that YouTube channel. It's kind of funny. Fred's been pretty funny in the beginning and stuff. So definitely go check out that channel. You can see that Miss Caitlin, Fred's wife, and she teaches you how to do some stuff too. And definitely go check that out, and you will not miss it. But again, you can go check it out. I have the link down here below. Also, my new podcast out. You can go check it out at kingofpressurewash.com/podcast. Sign up there. I do have some stuff coming out next week. It's kind of a secret right now, but stay tuned to it. It might have something to do with a gift card or 2 or 3 or 4. So definitely check, go sign up there. That'll be a sign up for you. Also, one thing I might give you a hint is one of the cards you'll have to be a member. So go check that out too. So you can go do that at pressurewashhelp.com/free and check that out. Awesome. Do you have anything for a new guy, a tip for a new guy before we get off here?
Yeah, just one last tip from a pro. Donovan, he was in a gutter cleaner. I was making fun of him for doing it for $69.99. I was like, you're never going to get ahead like that. You're going to go broke. And he actually makes a good living doing that. But he kept saying, next year I'm going to do Christmas lights. I'll do it, Fred. I'll do it. I was like, look, there's a learning curve to doing Christmas lights. Just make your goal to do a good 15, 20 this year. And so he said, you know what? I'm going to do it. And that was 3 years ago. And he thanks me all the time for making him do those 15 to 20 jobs that first year. His average ticket was only $700 that year, but it made him ready for the next year to just kill it. Like last year, I think his average ticket was $1,800, and now I think it's like $2,500. But if he didn't get his feet wet and didn't start installing lights, he was just going to watch videos that year and then the next year take it on. The thing is, you can learn a lot by watching videos, but there's nothing that – it's like trying to learn how to ride a bike by reading a bunch of books about it. You just got to actually go do it. And so if you're thinking about doing it, right now's the time to do it. Just get your feet wet, do a couple installs. You'll see the neighbors are going to come out and start asking you to do their house next. And so you may end up planning on doing 5 this year and end up doing 10 or 15. But that will get your feet wet for next year to really kill it.
Awesome. Go buy some product. You can go to what's yours? ChristmasLightContractor.com.
It's ChristmasLightContractorsUSA.com. We do sell lights there.
Yep. So go check it out. You can go to ChristmasLights.io, buy me coffee, or you can buy Fred, either one. So
yeah, you can buy them from Jason too.
See y'all. Hold on. Let me.